SabPaisa, one of India's leading payment gateways, offers a single platform for payment collection to payouts. We are the only payment gateway that supports all types of payments, cards, net banking, UPI, wallets, and offline. In this video, we will learn to integrate the SabPaisa payment gateway with a Kotlin web application. Before we begin, we must take the credentials from your account manager and save the credentials in your system. Open the Kotlin standard integration document from the SabPaisa website. Start the integration process. Below are the steps to be followed. Step 1. Initialize the Kotlin code for the SabPaisa payment gateway. In the utils package, let's create a new Kotlin class called Encryptor. It provides encryption and decryption methods through a companion object. Inside the Encryptor class, there's a companion object, acting like a singleton. It contains two crucial functions, encrypt and decrypt. Let's dive into the encrypt and decrypt functions. It takes three parameters, k, init vector, and the value to be encrypted and decrypted. We create an initialization vector and a secret key specification, then initialize a cipher for A's encryption in CBC mode, create subservice class in the service package, and it marked with the service annotation, signifying its role in the Spring framework. We start by injecting properties from the application.properties file using the value annotation. These properties include client code, merchant credentials, callback URL, and authentication keys necessary for secure communication with SabPaisa. The getSabPaisa service method generates a model and view for the SabPaisa service. In this function creates a random alphanumeric client transaction ID. The generateAroundAlphanumerics method generates a random alphanumeric string of a specified length using SecureAround. Moving on, we define details about the payer and transactions such as amount, channel ID, whether it's for web as W and mobile as M, payer name, email, and mobile number. Coming to extra parameters, in our example, we use two parameters class and roll number. This can be handy if you need to pass additional information related to your application or transaction up to 20 values. Now comes the interesting part. We construct a data string as SPURL with all the details we gathered. Using the iEncryptor class, it encrypts the SPURL string for secure transmission. Coming to the model view, create the HTML file. In that file, we create a form that will submit the encrypted data to SabPaisa's URL. The form includes hidden input fields for the encrypted data, client code, and a submit button. For testing purposes, we set the form action to SabPaisa's stage URL. However, when deploying in a live environment, make sure to switch this to the production URL provided by SabPaisa. The encrypted data and client code are then added to a model and view and returned. The getResponseService method takes an encrypted response as a parameter, decrypts it using the encryptor class, prints the decrypted text, and splits it into key. Value pairs. The decrypted text is then returned. Create subcontroller class, residing in the controller package. We begin by auto-wiring the subservice into our controller using the auto-wired annotation. This service class will handle the logic for SabPaisa transactions. Now let's look at the first endpoint. The initiate payment endpoint is a getRequest mapped to SabPaisa initiate payment. When accessed, it initiates a payment request by calling the getSabPaisa service method from the subservice. Method retrieves the model and view from the getSabPaisa services method and prints it to the console before returning it. The model and view likely contains the encrypted data needed for the SabPaisa payment gateway. Moving on to the second endpoint. It's a post request mapped to a SabPaisa response. This endpoint handles the response from the payment gateway, decrypts it, and returns the decrypted text. In this method, the encrypted response is received as a request parameter, encResponse. The getResponseAssurus method from the subservice is called to decrypt the response. The decrypted text is printed and returned with an AutoPP status of OK. It's annotated with REST controller, indicating that it processes hookup requests and returns the result directly. Don't forget, after response page mapping, define the callback URL. Step 2. Access the SabPaisa checkout page. After initiating the payment request, SabPaisa checkout page appears. Here, you can seamlessly select your preferred payment mode, enter the necessary payment details, and proceed to complete the payment. Once done, the system generates a response, providing you with key information, including the amount and payment status. Thank you. Visit SabPaisa.in to know more information.